Imagine walking into a restaurant and having the staff offer to feed your parking meter while you dine. How would that make you feel? Surprised? Delighted? Maybe even a little skeptical? This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It's a real example of what Will Guidara calls unreasonable hospitality, going above and beyond in ways that create unforgettable experiences for guests. Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf, where we distill game-changing insights from the world's best business books. I'm your host, and today we're diving into Unreasonable Hospitality, the remarkable power of giving people more than they expect, by Will Guidara. If you're not familiar with Will Guidara, he's the restaurateur who, along with chef Daniel Hum, transformed 11 Madison Park from a struggling brasserie into the world's best restaurant. But this isn't just a story about fine dining. It's about the transformative power of exceptional service and how it can be applied to any business or leadership role. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll explore the key principles from Guidara's book that can help you elevate your approach to customer experience, team management, and leadership. Whether you're running a restaurant, a tech startup, or a Fortune 500 company, these insights will challenge you to think differently about hospitality and its potential to drive success. Let's start at the beginning of Will Guidara's journey, long before he became a world-renowned restaurateur. Picture a young Will, barely a teenager, sitting in his father's office at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. His father, Frank Guidara, was a successful restaurant industry executive, and on this particular day, he decided to have a serious conversation with his son. Frank asked Will a question that would shape the course of his life. "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Will, caught off guard, mumbled something about maybe following in his father's footsteps. But Frank wasn't satisfied with this vague answer. He pressed further, asking Will to be specific about his goals. This moment was pivotal for young Will. It taught him the power of intentionality, of setting clear, ambitious goals and working deliberately towards them. Frank didn't just accept Will's casual interest in the restaurant industry. He challenged his son to think deeply about his future and to articulate his aspirations with precision. This lesson in intentionality would become a cornerstone of Will's approach to hospitality and business. He learned that success doesn't just happen by chance or by following in someone else's footsteps. It comes from having a clear vision and purposefully working towards it every single day. As Will grew older and began his career in the hospitality industry, this lesson in intentionality continued to guide him. He didn't just want to work in restaurants. He wanted to create extraordinary dining experiences. He didn't just want to manage a team. He wanted to build a culture of excellence and innovation. This approach to setting and pursuing goals isn't unique to the restaurant industry. It's a principle that can be applied to any business or career path. Think about your own goals. Are they clear and specific? Or are they vague notions of what you might want to achieve? The power of intentionality lies in its ability to focus your efforts and guide your decisions. When you have a clear goal in mind, it becomes easier to prioritize your time and resources. It helps you say no to distractions and yes to opportunities that align with your vision. For example, if your goal is to become a leader in sustainable business practices, that intention will guide your decisions about everything from supply chain management to marketing strategies. If your aim is to create the most user-friendly software in your industry, that intention will inform your product development, customer service, and hiring decisions. But intentionality isn't just about setting big, long-term goals. It's also about approaching each day, each task, each interaction with purpose. In the restaurant world, this might mean carefully considering the placement of each item on a table, or thoughtfully crafting the wording of each item on a menu. In your business, it could mean being deliberate about the tone of your emails, the layout of your office, or the way you conduct meetings. The key is to move beyond autopilot mode and to bring conscious thought and purpose to everything you do. This doesn't mean overthinking every minor decision, but rather developing a habit of mindfulness and purpose in your work. So, how can you apply this principle of intentionality to your own career or business? Start by taking a step back and asking yourself some key questions. What are your long-term goals? Be specific and ambitious. What are your short-term objectives that will help you reach those long-term goals? How do these goals align with your values and passions? What daily habits or practices can you develop to support these goals? Once you've clarified your intentions, the next step is to communicate them clearly to your team. share your vision, and help them understand how their roles contribute to the bigger picture. This shared sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating and unifying for a team. Remember, intentionality is not about rigidity. It's about having a clear direction while remaining flexible in your approach. As Will Guidara's career demonstrates, being intentional allows you to seize unexpected opportunities and navigate challenges while staying true to your ultimate vision. Now, let's shift our focus to another crucial aspect of Will Guidara's success: the power of building a strong company culture. To illustrate this, let's transport ourselves to the bustling kitchen of Union Square Cafe in New York City, where a young Will Guidara was about to learn one of the most important lessons of his career. It was Will's first day working for Danny Meyer's Union Square Hospitality Group, and he was nervous. He'd heard about Meyer's reputation for exceptional service and was eager to make a good impression. As he entered the kitchen, he was greeted by a scene of controlled chaos. Chefs calling out orders, servers rushing in and out, the sizzle and steam of a busy restaurant in full swing. But amidst this chaos, Will noticed something unusual. The staff weren't just focused on their tasks. They were communicating with each other, using terms he'd never heard before. "Corner," they'd call out as they rounded a blind turn. "Behind," they'd say as they passed behind a colleague. These weren't just words. They were part of a shared language that kept everyone safe and in sync. This was Will's first encounter with what Danny Meyer calls enlightened hospitality, a philosophy that puts employees first, believing that when staff feel valued and part of something special, they naturally extend that feeling to guests. As Will spent more time in Meyer's restaurants, he began to understand the depth of this culture. It wasn't just about a few catchphrases in the kitchen. It was a comprehensive approach to hospitality that permeated every aspect of the business. There were shared concepts like writing a great last chapter, ensuring a guest's final moments in the restaurant were memorable, or finding the yes, always looking for ways to accommodate guest requests. This strong culture did more than just create a pleasant work environment. It became a competitive advantage. Staff were more engaged, more creative, and more committed to providing exceptional service. Guests could feel the difference, even if they couldn't quite put their finger on why their experience felt so special. The power of this culture-first approach isn't limited to the hospitality industry. In fact, it's a principle that can transform any business. Think about some of the most successful companies in the world: Google, Netflix, Zappos. What do they have in common? A strong, distinctive company culture that guides everything they do. So, how can you build a culture like this in your own organization? Here are a few key strategies. First, define your core values. What principles are non-negotiable for your business? These should be more than just nice-sounding words on a wall. They should be values that you're willing to hire and fire based on. Next, create a shared language. This doesn't mean inventing a bunch of quirky terms for the sake of it. Instead, identify the key concepts that are crucial to your business and find ways to articulate them clearly and memorably. Invest in training. Culture isn't something that just happens. It needs to be deliberately cultivated. Regular training sessions can help reinforce your values and shared concepts. Lead by example. As a leader, you need to embody the culture you want to create. If you want a culture of open communication, you need to be open and approachable yourself. Celebrate when your team lives up to your cultural ideals. Recognition reinforces behavior, so make sure to acknowledge when someone exemplifies your values. Be consistent. Culture isn't built overnight. It requires constant reinforcement and needs to be considered in every decision you make. Remember, a strong culture isn't about creating a cult-like atmosphere or forcing everyone to conform to a rigid set of rules. It's about creating a shared sense of purpose and a common approach to work that aligns with your business goals. When done right, a strong culture can become your secret weapon. It can help you attract and retain top talent, improve customer satisfaction, and even drive innovation. As Danny Meyer often says, business, like life, is all about how you make people feel. It's that simple, and it's that hard. Now, let's explore one of the most exciting and transformative aspects of Will Guidara's approach to hospitality: the magic of going above and beyond. This is where the concept of unreasonable hospitality really comes to life. Picture this. You're dining at 11 Madison Park, one of the world's best restaurants. You've just finished an exquisite meal, And as you're preparing to leave, a staff member approaches your table. They've noticed that your parking meter is about to expire. Instead of just informing you, they offer to go out and feed the meter for you so you can relax and enjoy the rest of your evening without worry. This is just one example of what Guidara calls a grace note, a small, unexpected gesture that goes beyond the usual boundaries of service. It's not about grand, expensive gestures. It's about paying attention to the details of a guest's experience and finding creative ways to make it extraordinary. Another example. A couple mentions during their meal that they're celebrating their anniversary, but couldn't get tickets to the musical Hamilton. The staff overhears this, and while the couple is enjoying their dessert, manages to secure 2 tickets to that night's show. When the couple finishes their meal, they're presented with the tickets, a complete surprise that turns a great evening into an unforgettable one. These acts of unreasonable hospitality aren't just about making guests happy in the moment. They create stories that guests will tell for years to come. They generate the kind of word-of-mouth marketing that no amount of advertising can buy. They build deep, lasting loyalty. But here's the key. These gestures aren't random acts of kindness. They're a part of a deliberate strategy to create magical moments for guests. Guidara and his team were constantly on the lookout for opportunities to go above and beyond. They empowered their staff to be creative and take initiative in delighting guests. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for a high-end restaurant, but how does this apply to my business? The principle of unreasonable hospitality can be adapted to any industry or context. It's about finding ways to exceed expectations and create memorable experiences for your customers or clients. For example, if you run a software company, unreasonable hospitality might mean providing personalized onboarding sessions for each new client, no matter how small their account. If you're in retail, it could be remembering a customer's preferences and having their favorite items ready when they visit. If you're a consultant, it might mean going beyond your contracted deliverables to provide extra value to your clients. The key is to cultivate a mindset of generosity and creativity in your approach to customer service. Here are a few strategies to help you incorporate unreasonable hospitality into your business. Listen actively. Pay close attention to what your customers or clients say. Often, opportunities for unreasonable hospitality arise from casual comments or offhand remarks. Empower your team. Give your employees the authority and resources to go above and beyond when they see an opportunity. Trust their judgment and encourage their creativity. Create a culture of yes. Train your team to look for ways to accommodate requests, even unusual ones. The default answer should be yes, unless there's a compelling reason to say no. Personalize experiences. Use the information you have about your customers to tailor their experiences. The more personal the gesture, the more impact it will have. Be proactive. Don't wait for problems to arise. Look for opportunities to delight customers before they even realize they need something. Celebrate and share success stories. When someone on your team goes above and beyond, make sure to recognize and celebrate it. Share these stories to inspire others and reinforce the culture. Remember, the goal isn't to bankrupt your business with extravagant gestures. It's to find meaningful, often small ways to show your customers that you care about their experience on a personal level. Unreasonable hospitality is about creating a culture where everyone in your organization is constantly asking themselves, how can we make this experience not just satisfactory, but truly memorable? When you succeed in doing this consistently, you create a business that doesn't just satisfy customers. It creates passionate advocates. As we near the end of our journey through Will Guidara's Unreasonable Hospitality, let's focus on a crucial element that ties everything together: the power of enthusiastic and trusting leadership. To illustrate this, let's revisit a pivotal moment in Will's career when he worked under Randy Garudi at Tabla, another restaurant in Danny Meyer's group. Picture a bustling restaurant on a busy night. The air is filled with the sounds of clinking glasses, animated conversations, and the rhythmic chopping from the kitchen. In the midst of this controlled chaos stands Randy Garudi, the general manager. But Randy isn't barking orders or micromanaging his staff. Instead, he's moving through the restaurant with an infectious energy, high-fiving servers, chatting with guests, and radiating enthusiasm. This was the leadership style that left a lasting impression on Will Guidara. Randy wasn't just managing a restaurant, He was setting the emotional tone for the entire establishment. His enthusiasm was contagious, spreading to the staff and even to the guests, creating an atmosphere of excitement and positivity. But Randy's impact went beyond just being a cheerleader. He demonstrated a deep trust in his team, empowering them to make decisions and take ownership of their roles. He would often say, "This is your restaurant," instilling a sense of pride and responsibility in every staff member. This combination of enthusiasm and trust created a powerful dynamic. Staff members felt valued and motivated, which in turn led to better performance and more creative problem solving. They weren't just doing their jobs, they were actively looking for ways to improve the guest experience. The lessons from Randy's leadership style are applicable far beyond the restaurant industry. In any business, the energy and attitude of the leader set the tone for the entire organization. When a leader exudes enthusiasm and demonstrates trust in their team, it creates a positive feedback loop that can transform the entire culture of a company. So, how can you cultivate this kind of leadership in your own role? Here are some key strategies. First, lead with genuine enthusiasm. This doesn't mean you need to be constantly cheerleading or ignoring challenges. It means approaching your work with a sense of purpose and excitement, even in the face of difficulties. Your attitude is contagious, so make sure it's one worth catching. Second, show trust in your team. This means delegating not just tasks, but also authority. Give your team members the power to make decisions and solve problems on their own. When you trust your team, they'll often exceed your expectations. Third, be present and engaged. Randy's high fives and personal interactions weren't just for show. They demonstrated that he was fully present and invested in the success of his team. Make time for personal interactions with your team members and show genuine interest in their work and their lives. Fourth, create opportunities for growth. Randy didn't just manage his team, he mentored them. Look for ways to help your team members develop new skills and take on new challenges. When people feel they're growing, they're more engaged and committed to their work. Fifth, celebrate successes, both big and small. Recognition is a powerful motivator. Make sure to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts and achievements of your team members regularly. Lastly, foster a sense of ownership. Help your team members see how their work contributes to the bigger picture. When people feel a sense of ownership, they're more likely to go above and beyond in their roles. Remember, enthusiastic and trusting leadership isn't about being the loudest or the most charismatic person in the room. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued, empowered, and excited about their work. It's about setting a tone of positivity and possibility that permeates every aspect of your business. As we wrap up our exploration of unreasonable hospitality, let's recap the key takeaways from Will Guidara's transformative approach to business and leadership. First, we learned about the power of intentionality. Success doesn't happen by accident. It comes from setting clear, ambitious goals and working deliberately towards them every day. Whether you're running a restaurant or a tech startup, having a clear vision and purpose can guide your decisions and focus your efforts. Second, we explored the importance of building a strong company culture. We saw how shared language, values, and practices can create a sense of unity and purpose within an organization. A strong culture isn't just about making work more enjoyable. It's a powerful tool for driving performance and creating a competitive advantage. Third, we delved into the magic of going above and beyond for your customers. Unreasonable hospitality isn't about grand, expensive gestures. It's about paying attention to the details and finding creative ways to exceed expectations. These moments of delight can create lasting loyalty and turn customers into passionate advocates for your business. Finally, we examined the impact of enthusiastic and trusting leadership. We saw how a leader's energy and attitude can set the tone for an entire organization, and how empowering your team can lead to better performance and more creative problem solving. These principles aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical strategies that have been proven in one of the most competitive industries in one of the most competitive cities in the world. But their application extends far beyond the world of fine dining. Whether you're running a small business, managing a team in a large corporation, or just starting your entrepreneurial journey, these ideas can help you create extraordinary experiences for your customers and a more engaged, motivated workforce. So, what's your next step? I encourage you to choose one principle from today's episode and commit to implementing it in your business this week. Maybe it's setting a more intentional goal for your team. Perhaps it's brainstorming ways to go above and beyond for your customers. Or it could be finding new ways to demonstrate trust and enthusiasm in your leadership. Remember, unreasonable hospitality isn't about perfection. It's about consistently striving to give people more than they expect. It's about creating moments of delight and connection that transform ordinary interactions into extraordinary experiences. As Will Guidara's journey shows, when you commit to this approach, amazing things can happen. You can turn around struggling businesses, create world-class customer experiences, and build teams that are passionate about their work. Before we close, I want to remind you that the Amazon link to purchase a copy of Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara is included in the episode description. I highly recommend reading the full book to dive deeper into these transformative ideas about hospitality and leadership. Thank you for joining me on CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. I'm your host, and I hope this exploration of unreasonable hospitality has inspired you to think differently about your approach to business and leadership. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and keep striving to create extraordinary experiences for everyone you serve.